So x and y intercepts are points where they either cross the y-axis or cross at the x-axis. Y-intercept is always going to be a point where it crosses the y-axis. It's going to be written as 0, comma, a number. And a y-intercept happens when x value is 0. So if you notice, the x value, because it's x comma y, the x is always going to be 0. So that's something to remember. Now with an x-intercept, it's the point where a graph crosses the x-axis, and in this case, it's always going to be a number, comma, 0. And this takes place when the x-intercept is when the y value is 0. So we're going to take we're going to do 2 examples to kind of explain how this works. So if I have, for example, 1, I have y equals negative 3x plus 3. So this is in slope-intercept form, which is going to help me easily see the y-intercept. So I'm going to look, and I notice that my m value is negative 3, and my y-intercept, which is my b value, is going to be 0, comma 3. For you to see why it is the y-intercept, some of the math behind it is that if you were to take, so I'm going to shorten it, y-intercept, if you were to take the x value and make it 0, you're going to see what happens. So we have y equals negative 3x plus 3. I'm going to substitute 0 in for x, so I have y equals negative 3 times 0 plus 3. You notice when you substitute 0 in, this is going to cancel, so I get y equals 3, which how you would write it as an intercept. We knew that x was 0 and y was 3, so I'm going to write it as 0, comma 3. Now we're going to do the same thing for the x-intercept, but this time we notice that the y is 0, so we're going to substitute 0 in for y. So here's how to find the x-intercept. So we have y equals negative 3x plus 3. We're going to put 0 or substitute 0 in for y. So I get 0 equals negative 3x plus 3. I want to get x by itself. So I subtract 3 on both sides. So I get negative 3 equals negative 3x. I still want to get x by itself. So I divide both sides by negative 3. And I get x equals 1, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. But I'm not done yet because I want to make sure that I write it as the x-intercept. So I'm going to write it as 1, comma 0. And the reason why I'm writing that is because 0 it was in for y, and then I found out x equals 1. So another example would be if I have y minus 2 equals 6x. Well, I want to put this equation back into y equals mx plus b to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So I'm going to add 2 on both sides. I cannot combine 6x and 2, so I get y equals 6x plus 2. I know that my slope is 6. My y-intercept is going to be 0, comma 2. To do the math behind it, I can take x and substitute 0 in for it to find the y value. So I get 6 times 0 plus 2. 6 times 0 is going to cancel and become 0, so I got y equals 2. I notice that x is 0, so that's why I'm going to write 0, comma 2. That is going to be my y-intercept. Now to find my x-intercept, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to substitute 0 in for y. So I get 0 equals 6x plus 2. I want to get x by itself, so I subtract 2 on both sides. So I get negative 2 equals 6x. I divide both sides by 6. So I'm going to get x equals negative 1 over 3. So negative 1/3. But I'm not done yet because I want to write it as an intercept. So I have negative 1/3, comma 0. Notice that my 0 was for my y, my negative 1/3 was for my x, and that is how you find the 2 intercepts.